Walk onto any used car lot in America today and you will find them parked between the crossovers nobody can afford and the economy cars everybody is fighting over. Sedans. Full-size, mid-size, leather-wrapped V6 powered sedans that nobody under 40 even looks at anymore. I have been a mechanic for over 2 decades and I am telling you these 5 sedans were so overbuilt by their manufacturers that they actually lost money on every single one they sold. The engineering was overkill, the materials were too good, and the market punished them for it with brutal depreciation. That punishment is now your advantage because every one of these is available right now for under $6,000. I saved the best for number 1 because that sedan might be the most over-engineered vehicle ever sold in America at any price. Let us get into it. Number 5 is the car that carried every retired police officer, every airport shuttle driver, and every small-town taxi operator in America for 3 straight decades. And somehow the general public still has no idea how good it is. The Mercury Grand Marquis. Specifically from 2003 to 2011. Mercury was Ford's forgotten middle child. And when Ford killed the brand in 2011, they left behind a sedan that was built on the Panther platform, one of the longest running and most proven vehicle architectures in American automotive history. The engine is the 4.6-liter modular V8, the single overhead cam version that Ford refined over 20 years. Until there was essentially nothing left to go wrong with it. It is naturally aspirated, port fuel injected, uses a timing chain, and produces 224 horsepower in a car that rides like a living room sofa on wheels. A retired mail carrier came into my shop 2 summers ago, driving a 2007 Grand Marquis. He had picked up at an estate sale for $3,200 with 94,000 miles. He wanted a full inspection before a road trip to see his grandkids in Tucson. I went through the whole car. Compression was even across all 8 cylinders. The transmission shifted like it had 20,000 miles on it. Suspension was tight. I changed his oil, topped off the coolant, and told him to drive it across the country without a worry. He did. And he has put another 38,000 miles on it since then with 0 unplanned repairs. The 4R70W and later 4R75E automatic transmissions behind that 4.6-liter engine are workhorses that Ford perfected over millions of fleet miles. These transmissions live in police cruisers that idle 8 hours a day in summer heat and still go 300,000 miles. You can find a clean Grand Marquis right now with under 120,000 miles for $3,000 to $5,500. Compare that to a Camry from the same year with similar miles going for $7,000 to $9,000. And you start to understand how broken the sedan market really is. When you inspect one, check the intake manifold coolant crossover. The plastic fitting on early 4.6-liter engines can crack and leak coolant. It is a $200 fix, but verify it has been done. Check the air suspension if equipped, because the rear bags can leak around 130,000 miles. Most owners have already converted to standard coils for about $250. If the frame is clean and the transmission fluid is pink, you are looking at a car that will run another 200,000 miles without breaking a sweat. Number 4 is a sedan that General Motors accidentally made too reliable for their own good. The Buick Lucerne from 2006 to 2011, specifically with the 3800 Series 356. GM killed the legendary 3800 engine after this generation because it lasted so long that owners never came back to buy another car. That is not a joke. Internal GM documents from the era acknowledged the 3800 was hurting repeat sales because the cars simply would not die. The 3800 is a pushrod V6 with a supercharger option, but even the naturally aspirated version produces 197 horsepower and will run 300,000 miles on original internals if you change the oil. It uses a timing chain, port fuel injection, and an engine architecture GM refined for over 40 years. Last year, a woman brought me a 2008 Lucerne CXL with 211,000 miles. She had bought it new. 20 years of driving the same car. She wanted to know if she should finally replace it. I checked everything. The engine had a small oil seep at the valve cover gaskets, which is common and costs $180 to fix. The transmission was still shifting perfectly. The suspension was worn but serviceable. I told her she had another 80,000 miles in that powertrain if she wanted them. She smiled and drove it home. Current pricing on a Lucerne from 2008 to 2011 with the 3.8-liter V6 and under 130,000 miles is between $3,500 and $5,800. You are getting heated leather seats, a quiet cabin, a ride quality that rivals cars costing 4 times as much, and an engine that GM engineers built so well it actually became a corporate problem. When you shop for one, check the intake manifold gaskets. That engine had a known issue with the upper intake gaskets leaking coolant internally on earlier versions. But the Series 3 in the Lucerne largely resolved this. Verify it anyway. Check the power steering lines for seepage and listen for any whine from the steering pump at full lock. If the transmission shifts clean and the coolant is not mixing with anything it should not be, buy it and do not look back. The Acura TL 3rd generation, from 2004 to 2008, is the sedan Honda built to compete with Lexus and BMW, and then completely forgot to tell anyone about. This car had a 3.2-liter and later a 3.5-liter VTEC V6, producing up to 286 horsepower in the Type S trim. It had Brembo brakes on the performance model, a limited slip differential, leather everything, and build quality that made the German competition look like it was assembled during a lunch break. Acura overbuilt this car because they were trying to steal market share from the BMW 3 Series. They failed at the marketing. They succeeded at the engineering. A college professor came into my shop last winter with a 2007 TL Type S. He had bought with 74,000 miles 6 years earlier for $9,000. He was now at 158,000 miles. Total unplanned repairs in 6 years were a starter motor, a set of engine mounts, and one wheel bearing. Under $1,200 total. The car still drove like it was new. The J-Series V6 in the TL is from the same Honda engine family that powers the Odyssey, the Pilot, and the Accord V6. It is one of the most documented and proven V6 platforms in automotive history. Timing belt is the one maintenance item you cannot ignore. Budget $800 to $1,000 for the belt, water pump, and tensioners at 105,000 miles. If the previous owner already did it, you are golden for another 100,000 miles. If this content is helping you make a smarter decision, do me a favor and hit subscribe. I put out videos every week on the vehicles that actually deserve your money. Now back to the TL. Current pricing on a 2006 to 2008 TL with under 120,000 miles is between $4,500 and $6,000. A same year, BMW 328e is selling for $6,000 to $8,000 and will cost you $1,800 in maintenance within the first year. The Acura will cost you an oil change. When inspecting one, check for a pulsation in the brake pedal because warped rotors are common on the TL due to the weight and power. Check the automatic transmission fluid. The 2004 and 2005 models had a known transmission concern where the third gear clutch pack would wear prematurely if the fluid was not changed every 30,000 miles. By 2006, Honda had revised the transmission and the issue was largely resolved, but always check the fluid regardless. If it is dark or smells burnt, keep looking. Number 2 is the sedan that Toyota built to be the most comfortable car in America, and then priced so low that nobody in the luxury market took it seriously. The Toyota Avalon, 3rd generation. From 2005 to 2012, Toyota designed the Avalon to compete with the Lexus ES350, and then gave it nearly identical engineering at $8,000 less on the sticker. It shares the 2GRFE 3.5-liter V6 with the Lexus, produces 268 horsepower, uses a timing chain, and is naturally aspirated with port fuel injection. The timing chain is one reason these engines avoid expensive service work most timing belt engines need. This is the same engine family I have watched cross 300,000 miles on factory internals in Camrys, Highlanders, and Lexus models across my entire career. A retired dentist brought me his 2008 Avalon Limited last spring with 189,000 miles. He had bought it new and never taken it to anyone but me for 20 years. Total lifetime repairs outside of routine maintenance were a water pump at 140,000 miles, a set of struts at 160,000 miles, and one alternator. The engine had never been opened. The transmission had never been touched beyond fluid changes every 60,000 miles. I checked the compression, and every cylinder was within factory spec. That car has Lexus-level leather, heated and cooled seats, a Mark Levinson grade sound system, and it still rides like a cloud. Current pricing on a 2008 to 2012 Avalon with under 120,000 miles is between $4,500 and $6,000. You are buying Lexus engineering with a Toyota badge, and that Toyota badge is the only reason it costs $8,000 less than the equivalent ES350 on the same lot. When you inspect one, check the variable valve timing oil line on 2005 to 2008 models. Toyota used a rubber line that should be upgraded to the revised metal version. It is a $250 fix and the single most important maintenance item on this engine. If that service has been done, you have one of the most reliable sedans ever manufactured. Check the strut mounts for any clunking over bumps. They wear around 100,000 miles and cost about $500 to replace at an independent shop. If the interior is clean and the transmission fluid is red, buy it immediately before someone else figures out what it is. And here it is. Number 1. The sedan that I believe represents the single greatest value in the entire used car market right now, at any price point. The Lexus LS430, built from 2001 to 2006. This is the car that Lexus engineered to embarrass Mercedes and BMW at twice the price. And they succeeded so completely that both German brands had to redesign their flagship sedans in response. The LS430 was built to a standard that makes no financial sense. Lexus reportedly lost money on every unit because the engineering budget exceeded what the retail price could recover. The 3UZFE 4.3-liter V8 under the hood is a naturally aspirated, port-injected, timing belt-driven masterpiece that Toyota engineers designed to run 500,000 miles. That is not marketing. That is engineering intent documented by Toyota's own powertrain division. A longtime customer of mine, a retired airline pilot, has a 2004 LS430 with 296,000 miles on it. Original engine, original transmission. He changes the oil every 5,000 miles and does the timing belt every 90,000 miles. That is his entire maintenance routine. The car still rides like it did when it left the factory in Tahara, Japan, where every LS was hand-inspected before shipping. You can find a clean LS430 right now, with under 150,000 miles, for $4,000 to $6,000. A same-era Mercedes S-Class with similar miles is the same price, and will cost you $4,000 in repairs the first year. The Lexus will need an oil change and maybe a set of brake pads. The 6-speed automatic in the LS430 is Toyota's A761E, a transmission so reliable that independent shops rarely see one for anything other than a fluid change. The interior is lined with leather that Lexus sourced from a single supplier to ensure consistency. The wood trim is real. The seats are heated and cooled. The cabin is so quiet at highway speed that engineers measured it against a recording studio. When you inspect one, the timing belt is your first priority. If it has not been done and the car is over 90,000 miles, factor in $1,000 to $1,200 for the belt, water pump, and tensioners. If it has been done, you have another 90,000 miles of bulletproof driving ahead. Check the air suspension if equipped. The LS430 with air suspension can develop leaks around 150,000 miles, and the repair is $800 per corner. Many owners convert to standard coils for $400 total, and the ride quality barely changes. Check the power steering rack for any seepage and test every electronic feature, because this car has dozens of them and they all still work at 200,000 miles if the car was maintained. So there it is, 5 sedans the market completely forgot about, and every single one of them was overbuilt to a standard that manufacturers will never repeat because it cost them too much money. The Mercury Grand Marquis with its bulletproof Panther platform. The Buick Lucerne with the engine GM wishes they had never made so reliable. The Acura TL that out-engineered BMW at half the price. The Toyota Avalon hiding Lexus DNA under a mainstream badge. And the king of the list, the Lexus LS430, a car that was engineered to run 500,000 miles and can be yours for the price of a laptop. None of these will impress anyone at a stoplight. None of them have giant touchscreens or wireless Apple CarPlay. What they have is engineering that was designed to last decades, not lease cycles. The next time someone tells you that you need to spend $30,000 to get a reliable car, send them this video. If you want to see which SUVs have earned the same kind of respect in my shop, I made a video on that and it is right here. Like if this helped. Subscribe for more honest car advice and I will see you in the next one. Drive safe, take care of your car, and it will take care of you.